It's all right. Well, you could say that regular season often does weed out the competition here. Both of these teams being the bottom two in the group, so we didn't have this match occur like this last season, but it just worked out conveniently. You know, in our last week we'll have these two.
Even though they have to play against each other today, I'm sure that these guys at the bottom of the standings are still going to be remaining close buds at the end of it all.
I don't think that necessarily BlossoM will smoke them 4-0, but you know, anything can happen here. Let's take a look at these compositions. It is going to be the McCree-Farah mirror matchup here. You have to expect Ons to get the better of this one, and in fact, he already takes out Hyunwoo.
Goes ahead, gets rid of that. Enemy Mercy, so no reses to be had. He's going to pick up any more kills. It's actually going to be Decal finding the next one as he eliminates Mineral. So good counter kill coming through that's going to force the res from Vittori. BlossoM trying to push forward in onto the point, keeping this one contested. Showing the WGS can't get that initial cap, and Ons is going to come out on top of Arrow. Get some shots in on the decal. We'll take that rocket. And just stay alive, however. BlossoM loses Vittori, but still will be getting that initial cap.
Always nice to get the Mercy first. First of all, you prevent the pocketing of the Farah, and secondly, the res is preventable as well that way, so obviously it was going to be an uphill battle from there for WGS. They still were able to trade decently and don't end up with a massive tank ult deficit, but BlossoM maintains advantage in terms of Farah here. Decal finds an angle though. Doesn't get much done, but that's a nice start.
Both barrages nearly online. We'll see who can have the more impactful one here, Illicit or Decal. Now ready to go. Zarya's still a ways away, so not going to be having that grab barrage combo. Mineral's going to get picked off right at the start. Z-Bag traded out, and now it's going to be BlossoM coming out on top. No barrier to hide behind. Ons finds that Deadeye shot onto Arrow, taking down the enemy McCree. BlossoM maintaining control as they come up with 3 kills.
Yeah, Z-Bag was kept alive for so long, but because all the resources were put into him, Ons was able to find an angle to get that Deadeye off, kills the enemy McCree. And it's 50% now of the first capture for this squad. FaZe does not yet have a Graviton Surge, but in the longer fight he will earn one. So Sia wants to hold this if possible. He doesn't want to use it. Well, finds a good opportunity.
Yeah, drops it in. That's just going to be the barrage in from behind. Illicit will get traded out as Arrow comes up with that kill, but maybe Vittori will be able to get that res off, no problem.
I think he could have held that one, but you know, sometimes when you see an opportunity for a combo, you just take it. And when you have this much of an ult lead and that combo is going to lead you to a further one, or not ult lead, sorry, control meter lead and ult lead, you know that when you go for the retake, you're going to be building close to another one. So it's not a terrible choice, but maybe could have been a little bit more conservative.
Earthshatter's now about to be online. Illicit gets rid of Decal, so maybe not going to get an opportunity to use that barrage. Floats it from behind. Earthshatter out from Z-Bag. Not sure how many people he's locked down, but we're not really seeing the kills come through. Only one is going to be Sia falling, and Arrow finds that kill. Graviton Surge comes down. Z-Bag trying to swing his way through. Gets up to 62% of another Earthshatter, but now we're into overtime, and they have to get onto the point. Z-Bag now pushing in. They barely managed to tag in right at the last second. He's falling low. Shots coming down from Ons, trying to eliminate that enemy Farah. Decal's had this barrage this entire time. Finds 2 kills. Vittori will also fall. Illicit answers back with a barrage of his own. Gets rid of FaZe. Arrow swiftly cuts him down out of the sky. Fight's still going to be extended. 2 members still alive here as Sia and Mineral try to stay in onto the point. Deadeye's out from Arrow. Looking for the lockdown. He's going to get both of them. A nice little double pin coming through, pushing Mineral to the ground.
Z-Bag making the right choice there. It was win-win. Either he pins the enemy right or they collapse into each other and the Deadeye works. So that was a really good play by Z-Bag. He does have another Earthshatter prepared here. He's building those so quickly. Ons gets knocked off. That's going to reset this.
Yeah, definitely. He does slow them down quite a bit. Allows for Decal to get further ahead of Illicit at the moment.
Yeah, Sia is building towards a grab like that he would have had if he'd saved it earlier, but you know, that's not important anymore. He just has to earn it here.
Yeah, Mineral trying to charge his way back over to the spawn, flips the wall, and will get taken out. Z-Bag is rapidly building these Earthshatters, so has another one set to go. Nothing to couple with it, but we've already seen that, you know, a well-placed Earthshatter can go ahead and just win you an entire fight anyway.
Okay. The approach is going to have to be, I think, due to Illicit's rockets, right? He's trying to find an angle behind Z-Bag, and then that could be how they lead into the Earthshatter. Mineral caught here, though, again.
Ons taking a lot of hits, has the Discord Orb on him, and he's just going to disappear. Now it's going to be Mineral going down the Earthshatter. Going to be burned and gets nothing.
That's not the one they wanted.
Massive advantage now over for the side of WGS.
Oh yeah, I mean, that might actually have been map losing here, round losing for BlossoM.
It's starting to look that way.
Illicit was trying to get an angle. You could see where his rockets were coming through, but Z-Bag's being pocketed well, both by the Mercy and the Zenyatta. And then Mineral just tosses that in with no follow-up and not even with... I don't even know what he expected to happen there, but either way, you know, sometimes these things happen. Now
Rushing from behind, Mineral gonna go down Illicit, can't react fast enough. Get taken out. Push forward here from WGS as they approach 85%. Gonna go ahead and pick up this initial win on University.
I mean, you just can't, barring a huge mistake from WGS, you cannot get onto the point now. Try to grab for the opening. That's their best shot.
Gonna have to use that res. Multiple ultimates ready to go from the side of BlossoM, including that Transcendence. Let's see, that's gonna be double grab coming through on either side. Rockets raining in from above, and it locks them out of the point just for long enough. So WGS can pick up that win, 100-99. A close call here on University.
I think overall we can say pretty conclusively that BlossoM played the better mechanical game. They had the better usage of their DPSs, and overall in the 1v1s for the Pharah battles, Illicit was winning against Decal big time. Not to mention the On's flanks, the Deadeye that we saw. But it's just another reminder that this control map type in this meta is based on the defender's advantage so much that even an inferior team can totally crush you if you waste your tools trying to come in, like we saw from Mineral there, and you just can't approach. So
yeah,
the grab just means you literally can't step onto the point without someone to eat it. Like, that's what happened. They lost the point because the grab just pulled them away from it. And that's how this map works. So BlossoM got a win stolen away from them by intelligent and crafty play overall by WGS. They're still maybe the stronger mechanical team, but that's not completely what Overwatch is all about.
Well, now it's going to become a Winston zapping back and forth against each other. Z-Bag will fall low and has to kite back. But they're all going to be winning out on that exchange. Builds up a bit more for the Primal Rage. Swoon takes out Lastro. Good Zenyatta on Zenyatta action. Mineral comes in the back. Has a nice angle here on his Z-Bag, and Swoon comes up with another one. Now eliminating the enemy Winston Yano. Under fire off screen, will get taken down. And BlossoM going to be looking for that initial camp yet again. See how long they can hold it this time, though.
Coming up big here. Mineral does get taken out, but that's almost inconsequential at this point. So defender's advantage on this particular map. City Center, of course, going to give you less of an advantage to the previous because there are multiple angles of approach. As FaZe shows us one of those said angles right now for the flank. You can see meanwhile, Decal is also showing that there are multiple ways to enter the point. They will step through now to the center. On the side of BlossoM, they just need to continue to protect Ons because he will have line of sight advantage over Arrow. As you can see here, getting that initial body shot there, and he's boosted by the Mercy, uncontested. Look at Mineral looking for the collapse.
And drops down. That's going to be Z-Bag jumping up over onto the high ground. Flashbang into FaZe's mech. He'll get popped out, throws the self-destruct just to get back through, and Mineral will get taken down by Lastro. A good answering kill here from the side of WGS, but Illicit follows up, gets rid of FaZe yet again. Arrow with the Deadeye, gets rid of the Baby Diva. WGS not going to be able to rejoin that. FaZe gets Satori, Swoon on fire, already had to use that Transcendence. He's got a sliver of HP and will be finished off. That's going to be the foot coming through for WGS. 51% gained here for BlossoM before that cap comes in.
BlossoM had Mineral up in that hole, and it looked like they disagreed on decision as to where they could collapse. Mineral could have come in to protect Ons on that high ground and then try to collapse onto the tank line, win that war with Swoon having Discord orbs. But he decided instead to go alone for the support. So he went for the supports, then died to Lastro, who just headshotted him and left-clicked him with Discord. And then BlossoM didn't have any peel. So those two things went wrong for BlossoM. WGS gets the flip. And they get a slight ult advantage as well because of Swoon's Transcendence usage.
Decal can get into the back, throw down that pulse bomb onto the likes of Tori and Swoon. That'll just be a one fight essentially for the side of WGS. Mineral going low. Primal Rage going to be used by Z-Bag, finds it going to Ons as he has that Deadeye ready. So just good delays coming in for WGS as they try to exceed the percentage gained by BlossoM in the first cap.
So difficult to get Ons into position to do damage with the Deadeye. Mineral's going to start the approach.
Yeah, stun immediately comes down onto him. He's got a nice corner coming in. Just get Lastro locked up. Transcendence is going to be used by WGS and Zenyatta. They push forward back onto the point to maintain control for now. Jump back over to the side. Pocket has to come through on a Mineral to keep him alive. Ons and Illicit both going to fall. Arrow and Decal following up. Now it's just going to be the high ground here for the side of Arrow. Deadeye comes in. Just a little bit of damage through Sia. Piles off the side of the map. BlossoM trying to reset. WGS looking to put their second map win on the board here with a nice start on Oasis.
Yeah, Ons.
No.
He's going to make the switch to the Widow because the McCree just isn't going to cut it anymore. He has to flank somehow, and McCree can't do that. Widow can because she has grapple, so she can actually try to get behind Arrows. That's exactly what they're doing right here, the duo of Ons and Totori. Valkyrie can help them win the longer fight, get a Primal Rage, but it's going to have to be an opening pick to get this flip, or it's just not going to happen. Starting off is Ons. Here's that flank I was talking about.
Nice body shot, not going to find the execution. Tries to get there on Hyunu. Cannot finish him off. It's going to be a self-destruct thrown down by FaZe. No picks. Gets back into the back. And Ons does manage to get rid of decals. Now, Pesky Tracer into the back line. Shot comes through. FaZe going to go down. Pops him out of the back. The self-destruct from Sia. Able to finish him off. An arrow falls as does Z-Bag. So WGS will be surrendering the split back over. But they force the overtime. If they can immediately come back in, gain control over this point, they might be able to close it out with a 2-0 on Oasis.
Certainly a possibility. Ons does have, we're going to see the Genji swap here, as you're pointing out to me, but Ons does have line of sight now, and he has the infra sight, so I think the Genji pick is a smart one, because trying to deal with this with a McCree versus Widow against enemy Widow sight advantages is going to be such a tough challenge. They're going to wait out the infra sight before they approach to make this safer. They have to dive super well. They have to hit Ons. He has to be the first target, or the supports, whichever they can find. But they don't have time to build a Dragon Blade. That's not a factor here.
Oh, wrap around from the side here. Z-Bag jumps in onto the high ground, but Lastro's going to be eliminated. Ons finds that opening shot. He follows up onto the second support. Hyunu going to be eliminated. Now no res. No healing for WGS as they struggle to get this flip. BlossoM might just be able to close it out from here. Arrow's going to go down. Z-Bag with a Primal Rage. Manages to knock Sia out of that mech, but he's all on his lonesome here at the moment. Mineral losing his alt OT. Plummeting soon. The recall comes through. Charge forward from Lastro. With that Transcendence out, just trying to keep everybody alive. Decal goes low, but will not fall. Arrow still needs another 38% to get that Dragon Blade in, and even then, he needs to have one hell of a pop-up performance. Corey going down, Lastro gonna fall. Supports dead on the side of BlossoM. Maybe this is the opportunity here. Finds one. Mineral goes down. Ons now gonna be dead. Right around the side, dodging out on the self-destruct. Sia makes it back into the mech, but they play forward. He's all on his own, isolated completely with this mech. Will get taken down. He gets eliminated. Flip getting ready to come back through over to the side of WGS. They get it. It plummets, and they close it out. A 2-0 on Oasis. They put their second map win on the board as they take down BlossoM on Oasis.
Could be two upsets back-to-back tonight. It was still, I think, overall mechanically superior play from BlossoM, but they couldn't use their ults efficiently together. Individual mechanics is always what BlossoM has been known for. Ons is what everyone says when they talk about this team. His Widowmaker that he lived and died by on Hollywood in Season 1 and now in Season 2. It's the Widow, it's the McCree. He's always got locked in. It's a meta that better suits the Widow. But when your tank line is not on the same page as you, as we saw from Mineral, when the first flip came back in for WGS, or Mineral drops down onto the supports instead of peeling to save Ons, then the fact that Ons is great at hitting headshots, he's a mechanical god, is irrelevant because he still can't 1v5. He can't stop the dive from coming through. The delay tactics there for WGS were better. They won the longer fight because they were able to build a Dragon Blade in that extended, longer skirmish there. And they just know what they're playing around. And maybe, you know, we're not seeing the best Genji player in this league. We're seeing one of the weaker ones. And maybe we're seeing the better Widowmaker player on the other side. But if you play around the fact that they put all of their eggs into the Widowmaker basket on Ons here, and they don't then support him, if Mineral is being aggressive rather than being supportive on the Winston, then you can identify that quickly and say, you know, look, the guy's a great Widow, but he can't kill all of us. If he's all alone, like, we will dive and we will kill him. The Genji swap was an amazing choice there. I think at the end of the day, when they saw the Widow swap that got them the opening pick onto Decal there, who was trying to flank him. Decal goes down, they get on the high ground, and trying to out-Widow that with your own Widow or out-Widow it or out-hit-scan it with a McCree, for example, didn't make sense. The Genji pick comes through. Really good coordination at WGS.
Yeah, really nicely done. So a win on the board already for them. So starting things off on the right foot. Their first win on Control ever in Contenders. So finally are able to get that. Oh, man, we got props? What?
Hello? WGS? I don't know, Mike. There's no crossover between these two teams. Hello, Foxes. Can we have Genie back?
Missing the baby rage portion of this, but Okay, so made a prop telephone for this sign.
Yeah.
As we get ready to figure out what the next map is going to be. BlossoM going to be able to choose hybrid.
Well, it's a Janggu drawing here, or Shintan for those in the US. Just a parody of WGS instead of Janggu in the sign here. It says first victory on the fan that Janggu is holding. What a happy family. Dad needs to shave though, but that's usually how it goes. Let's win, let's win, let's win, let's win, let's win. I think you guys get the picture.
Heck.
But wait, what is it though?
How big is
Turn it
this
to the side,
banner?
hold on.
And then it says phase.
Oh, it
in
does
the middle.
say phase, yeah.
So the red ones say phase. That's just kaja, 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 kaja.
It took me a while to see that. I'm like not good at these types of things.
Yeah, interesting.
Hurts my eyes.
Okay. I wonder how this.
If you have epilepsy.
How did this conversation go when you walked into Kinko's? Like, hey, I need a banner printed. All right, cool. What do you want in it? When I wanted to say phase. All right, what else? I want everything else to say kaja.
It says Igija, actually.
Oh, okay. Well, my bad.
But,
my eyes hurt if I looked at it for too long. But
BlossoM Avengers here, Blue Benjas. The team of BlossoM drawn as the Avengers. And here we have another BlossoM fan.
With a
Soldier
nice
76, yeah.
A 3D Soldier 76. That's pretty nice. It looks like it came out of a, like an official Overwatch coloring book or something.
Yeah, it may have been like an official art book that was just colored over. We're headed to hybrid. So for BlossoM, they also only had one win of control historically. So they picked a lot of control maps. Hollywood has always been their favorite. Of their, if you look at their control or their hybrid maps played, they have 9 games played. 6 of the 9 are on Hollywood because they picked hybrid maps every time but one of those 9 times. It has been mostly their choice, and Kings Row, though, is going to be the map choice.
So maybe looking to bust out the good old Zarya Rein here.
Well, I think Mineral, minus that Earthshatter flub on University, like he's been a really good Reinhardt. His Winston was a little bit all over the place on City Center there, so this might be the right choice. This might be the map you want to roll with if you're BlossoM, if you want to play towards Mineral strengths. Obviously, on the Streets phase, Hans is a very good Hanzo, so is Illicit, so you can put Hans on the Pharah, put Illicit on the Hanzo. There's a lot of different ways you can play this map with the Reinhardt Zarya if you're BlossoM. This isn't really the comp I had in mind, but they're starting to normalize it a little bit, I guess.
I'm going to have to see what's going to get pieced together here. But Z-Bag will be looking at the Orisa here on defense, which is a good thing if you're BlossoM, if you're a BlossoM fan, because Z-Bag was honestly just crushing as far as that Rein was concerned. Constantly building up ults way more rapidly than we were seeing from Mineral. He's really struggling in that regard.
Yeah.
But will just be the Orisa, it looks like, on both sides with Ons and Illicit on snipers.
This is what we saw failed by 7 earlier, and only really GCBus on Wave again has been finding success with this on this map with Alpha E on the Roadhog. See what Swoon can get done here. It's a mirror matchup minus the Junkrat, obviously.
Goes for the hook there into the hotel, not going to be able to find it. Gets chunked out, so has to peel back.
There is a defender's advantage inherently with this, and there's not a lot of ways to flank as Swoon here when everyone knows what you're running. If you hide it, like Alpha E has on this map, then sometimes you can get away with it, but it's very, very difficult to execute on the attack without an opening pick.
That's going to be the hook coming down. It's on the last throw, though. Takes a breather. He will be able to stay alive as Arrow sits way in the back. Trying to take 2 shots, but he's got to go up onto the high ground and try to get up over that barrier. Another hook in on the last throw. Right as he can take another breather. Answers a hook. They're on the barrier is thrown down. Decal has to be res back in. Arrow finds the shot there onto Ons.
That's very important, because that was a flank that could have gone badly. Listen, misses so much of these.
Yeah, but he finally gets the last shot. Does manage to take down that Widowmaker, and Z-Bag has fallen at the same time. There's no res available. Yano already had to use that one. Last throw be taken out, so it seems like WGS is going to have to surrender this one, as they have a couple members hiding out inside the Alderworth. will push back over onto the point to try to buy a little bit of extra time, but face by himself with no healing. Does not stand a chance. He can shred it down. Decal. So yeah, just kill me. I don't feel like hiding. I don't feel like trying to flank. Just let me go back to spawn.
That was a scary moment there for Illicit, but he did get the kill. That was, I think, the snowball that they needed to finish off the rest of the point. The defensive trades for WGS started off really good, but then Ons came up big with some of his headshots. And that's, you know, how things turned. If you're getting even trades with your Roadhog hooks, then the defender always has the advantage, obviously. But when you're starting to get picks, that's when it massively sways in favor of the attackers because of the long run backs. We're going to see this Rip Tire held here before any composition swaps do occur, so we're almost still practically mirrored here with the DPS swap. Decal on this Junkrat. Lastro's already moved over to the Zenyatta. Here's the Rip Tire. See how long it lasts.
Through, just running it over the top of the buildings here. Drops it down, does manage to find Mineral, and you see it is also eliminated. So BlossoM now without a tank line. We'll have to play back. The BGS push forward aggressively, trying to gain a foothold here.
Decal's going to stick with the Roadhog, or sorry, not Roadhog, Junkrat. No Roadhog on the side of WGS, with Swoon being the exclusive hog. Still holding that whole hog for now, but Decal, against this comp, as long as he doesn't get into line of sight of Ons, can still just throw these left clicks across the corner, as you can see here.
Whole hog out from Swoon. Just going to go ahead and take down C-Bag with that whole hog. So, going to be burned.
And the left clicks did a lot of damage there. Decal's up to 30% once again, but he has to back away, otherwise he's going to face the wrath of Ons and Illicit. So a lot of free push here for the side of BlossoM. You can see just how far back WGS is now forced to play.
The hook attempt, not going to find the hit. With the Dragon Strike, waiting. That's going to be the Supercharger coming through. Tosses that one straight down the lane. And the members have to split to the side, but FaZe doesn't get the opportunity. He throws out the self-destruct though, manages to find Swoon.
Kind of a goofy
situation. That Supercharger. He'll be rezzed back in. Are going to be held at 0.89 meters away as Lastro pushes forward here with the Transcendence, but Yano looking to take it down. Arrow finds vengeance for his mercy. And now the Rip Tire comes out. Trying to dodge that one away. Look for an exiting pick, drops it down. And the follow-up is there from C-Bag to finish off Mineral with a Primal Rage, but he does lose his life for that.
He does. Decal is just doing what he can to buy further time here onto B.
I was Arrow
and
here.
I don't know the answer to that question, but I also don't know if BlossoM should continue to be running this Orisa Roadhog at this stage, because it's tough to get around this corner to get into Halt or Hook range. They can threaten a lot like this, they can run up forward, but then that puts them into range of Decal's left clicks. Self-destruct at a good angle.
Tossed in, but they're able to go ahead, kite around the boxes, keep themselves safe. FaZe now rejoining here onto the point, but Ons finds two. Both supports going down, and Swoon yet again with a whole hog. Gets rid of C-Bag, follows up on the face. Ons finds the shot there onto Arrow. That's going to be the team wipe coming through for BlossoM.
I mean,
Ons
get
the completion.
Basically gets free line of sight because of that self-destruct. The self-destruct shoves him into a place where then he can line up the headshots. Looks for the kill here onto the Tracer.
He's not using it for sight yet.
Yep, not yet.
Let's pop it out at some point. Hook not going to connect, but Lastro's dead.
He just expects a hero to come out of there. Doesn't happen, doesn't find the lineup, but this is a free push right now, and Swoon still threatening with this Roadhog. I mean, he's even flanking now to the right side.
Dive onto the top from C-Bag as he drops back down. He costs him dearly. Loses his life, and now Ons with that in for sight. He's looking for the shots.
Any hooks here could be really damning for WGS.
Well, tags coming through. Lastro yet again pushing forward. The Transcendence up. Trying to halt the cart here before it rounds that final corner, but Illicit tosses out the Dragon Strike, and now everyone has to kite back. Decal was all on his lonesome. He will go down. Destruct from FaZe. Looks for a pick. Not going to find it. The barrier there from Mineral. Keeps himself safe. C-Bag's dead again.
Ons uncontested.
That primal range.
No one can touch him up there. Illicit's flanking. They're trapped between a rock and a hard place right now. The supports.
Gets the hit on the Lastro. Low, does stay alive, but no, Illicit pushes around the corner with the remaining Storm Arrows, takes him out. Self-destruct finds FaZe. Lastro res back in, but it doesn't matter. No one's on the cart. They get the completion with time in the bank.
And on a map where the only coordination really required here for the comp that they ran is halt hook combos. Otherwise, it was just tanks buying some space and then the DPS is doing the rest of the work. So put in a situation into a scenario where it's more mechanically about the DPS's mechanical skill, like accuracy, positioning, flanking. BlossoM just walked all over WGS there with Illicit and Ons on Hanzo Widow, the sniper comp that they were running. at the end of the day there, Ons gets line of sight, shoots people in the head. Part of that was because of Sia tossing in their really cool self-destruct. Every self-destruct doesn't have to come up with kills. If a self-destruct gets tossed in and doesn't kill anybody, unless it was just a horrible one, it's usually for a good reason. And that was to get Ons those kills, get the line of sight advantage, where he was just able to fish in a barrel, kill WGS. Also the trapping there of Ons and Illicit of the supports there at the end is just like so classy. Very well played.
Done by him.
I don't even want to say that there's no coordination on the side of BlossoM, but compared to the teams that did make playoffs, it is a little bit lacking. But when they're given opportunities to just shine mechanically, you know, we see pushes like that one where the cart just kind of free rolls all the way through. On the defense, they're going to run the Widow Junkrat with the no Hanzo, but just running Swoon on the Roadhog still. And we're seeing more of this. This is distracting. We're seeing more of this Genji Hanzo Roadhog here from WGS.
Oh, he missed it.
There's no real, I feel like, theme to this comp. It just is kind of a catch-all. You're like, okay, it's mobile a little bit, it's got a little bit of burst damage, it has halt hook combo potential. It's not a dive comp, it's not a multi-tank comp, it's just kind of a catch-all. It's the Swiss Army knife attack. It will switch, of course, away from the Genji, keep the Widow here. This makes a little bit more sense.
Moving around the side of the statue. Hulk comes down, hook. In on the last throw, he's gonna fall low. Will go down, just an exchange on the Roadhogs here for the start, but Ons does follow up, takes down C-Bag. Now it's gonna be a res here for Swoon. He will be able to stick around for another hook. Illicit. Just to get rid of Keanu, and Face is gonna be taken out of that neck. Nowhere to jump off the side of the map, so either has to spam for it or reset, but instead it's gonna be Sia doing him a favor, sending him back to the spawn room a little bit faster.
Yeah, it ends up being a little bit of a win for him in that regard, I guess. We're trying to look at the world in the bright light. For WGS here...
There's not much of a bright light for either of these teams.
No. But for WGS, they either need to have Decal flank into a good spot to do burst onto tanks, or it's going to have to be a hook combo that allows him to burst somebody down. Ons does have a nice angle here. Doesn't end up getting a headshot, but he's just keeping them gated back behind this archway. Sonic Arrow to weird spot over there. Doesn't really find anything. Here's a hook onto Swoon.
Swoon. Yet again, taking a breather. Gonna be pretty neck and neck with last throw as far as that ult charge is concerned. Reptire set though for Illicit. Shut down everything for WGS. Self-destruct from Sia. Gonna find a pick. Weakens them. Now it's gonna be the Dragon Strike. Out from the side of Decal. Rolls straight in over top of the point, but not gonna be finding anything off yet. Illicit. Looking for a beefier target than that, but does find the Baby Diva, and we'll be happy to go ahead and eliminate her. Time Arrow gets taken down. Res has to be used by Keanu, but they're losing so many members around them. It's going to be Whole Hog for Whole Hog. Swoon spamming away. Trying to lock down Z-Bag Monster. Now turns around, finds Lastro, who did take Sia out of his own mech. We start pushing forward on the point, UWGS. BlossoM, see how they try to regain control. First Sick comes down. Arrow gets eliminated.
Okay, it looks like, you know, that could be the opening here, but they just can't really get onto the point
hook.
itself.
Arrow going to be rezzed in now. Illicit into the back, missing out on that satchel charge. Wouldn't have been enough to kill him off again anyway. Keeps tossing out more, and now Arrow gets vengeance, taking down Illicit. Swoon, 30% more ready to go. It's going to be a self-destruct in. Base finds Ons. Mineral going to be popping down that supercharger. Sia out of the back, and it's just going to be a killing kills here for the side of WGS. Just swooping through, eliminating BlossoM and getting that cap. 3.5 minutes now on the clock for the Street Spaces. Decal pushes very far forward.
It's basically just they had positional advantage there. BlossoM was trying to tag onto the point, trying to buy time, and obviously as a result they just got smashed. But that's okay, they did buy a little bit of time. That's just how these kind of things go. When you lose control of A, you can either tag or you can set up for the defense. They tagged a little bit there. It got crushed into the narrow choke point that we're trying to approach through. In terms of the comps, we're still pretty much straight up mirrored. In fact, we are quite literally mirrored between these two. So there's a chance now for Arrow and Decal to strike back in the losing matchup they just played against the DPSs of BlossoM. Flanks are going to be something that BlossoM just needs to be aware of. As you can see here, Arrow attempts to find that side shot.
Hulk comes in, grabs multiples. Another halt here from Z-Bag as he gets hooked forward. Not
the
going to be getting killed, though.
committed as
Toss
well.
that one down. Decal. Not in a position to toss out that Dragon Strike yet. The arrow's going to fall.
Yeah, keeps trying to flank, gets punished this time.
On the last throw, they drag him in, and he just melts. Disappears. Dragon Strike here from Decal. Pushes through. Arrow finds Ons.
Some big losses here for WGS in terms of ults and heroes.
Widowmaker's going down, but now listen, he gets the double. That's going to be Decal falling as well. Killing the enemy Hanzo. Push forward from Swoon. Looking for a hook. Almost hits Yano, but Sia's there for the follow-up, so they get him anyway.
Well, I mean, at this point, like, you've lost all your advantages with your composition. You've lost control of the tempo, and BlossoM just has side advantage. They have hook advantage even with how they're standing. You're going to switch it up. You're going to start going into the dive. You've even put Z-Bag onto the Winston here. And Mercy's still a requirement in this comp, but they're going to try to kill Ons and Illicit in the back if they can. Getting through the tanks is not going to be easy, as you can see here, as Swoon picks up another hook onto Arrows. So WGS, I think the wind is out of their sails, and they can't switch the comp again. It has to be this one.
Oh, well, this is that one, but not going to be too concerned. Does give a decent amount of charge over to Decal. You can spam straight into that massive.
Yeah, the deflect onto that right click.
Oh, that's going to be another hook, though. Mineral finding the kill onto Z-Bag. And he needs a Primal Rage to open up this street
I think
space.
what Decal should do here is, once again, just come in and deflect another right click. If he can get that off, then he's going to jump up to a Dragon Blade pretty much. I mean, that's what he was able to do there to Swoon just a moment ago. Even if he dies while doing it, I mean, that's all the initiation they're looking for. You talked about the Primal Rage. I just don't think that's realistic to maybe even ever have. Even with the Valkyrie to pocket him, there's no Transcendence either. This last row is just taking up my time right now. Okay, Arrow's caught once again. This cannot keep happening. Bird to recall.
Does make it out with his life this time. Successfully recalls. This one is going to be holding on to this whole hog for the time being.
BlossoM has every ult except the Impresight.
Yep.
And they can build the Impresight so quickly, not to mention that it's probably the least important thing right now.
And they're in a flank position with Illicit on this Hanzo.
Like, he doesn't need
both snipers.
extra vision.
They come in from the backside, but Decal gets that first shot, taking down Ons. Now going to be going at the Dragon Blade, dashes through, going to be pocketed up, falls low, and will be eliminated. Sia able to finish off that Genji. Mineral drops the Supercharger, falls low, but manages to stay alive, but a pulse bomb from Arrow does take him down as well as that Supercharger. Some struck comes through, res out from Yano, puts Arrow back into the fray. WGS have to be in onto the cart, have to go ahead and push this one all the way through to the finish. In overtime, 2-point beat, get a little bit of extra, and then try to complete the map if they want to move up 2-0 in this series. But right now, it looks like BlossoM still might be able to complete this defense. They get the break, though. So moving the cart up, but BlossoM will be able to compete against this before they roll into B.
It's a long, long, long push. So BlossoM will have a chance to swap comp here. Ons goes on to the Brigida. Sia's going to respawn here. He's going to be able to get back in really quickly with his rocket boosters. WGS doesn't have any ultimates minus the Primal Rage to contest the cart. So, as you say, it's very likely BlossoM will just defend this, but opening damage done here by Arrow. I actually really like the Pharah swap a lot because they have the ability to get above this and then get free damage done. Now they're going to dive in.
You're pushed up. Illicit finds Z-Bag way in the back. Decal trying to spam up, has a deflection up, takes a lot of damage from that Dragon Strike, manages to stay alive for a little bit, but it zones him away from the cart long enough. The overtime plummets, and BlossoM will go ahead and tie up this series 1-1.
One of our, I'd say, most calm and passive King Rose ever. It's just Roadhog Orisa on both sides with very difficult line of sight to be gained on attack or defense for snipers. It was just kind of a slow, you hook and miss, I'll hook. We'll see if we can get the job done, see if we can get these picks. But at the end of the day, I mean, the DPSs on the side of BlossoM, when they were given the opportunity to outskill those on the opposite side, they certainly did in the Streets phase. It's not a shocker that, you know, Ons and Illicit come up bigger on these heroes. The Roadhog play on both sides was, I'd say, about even. Maybe a slight advantage to Swoon, but in terms of Widow and also the Junkrat that came into play there on the defensive A, BlossoM came up bigger. And now we're tied up 1-1. As we head into the third map, that's when things start to get real bad win rate wise for WGS. This is where BlossoM shines. Hybrid was one of their stronger types with the Hollywood picks. They've done a lot. Then you go into Assault, best map type, and then we go back to Control, where again, until today, winless for WGS. So, you know, the series, I think momentum has completely shifted now away from BlossoM. or sorry, excuse me, away from WGS back to BlossoM, where you can rely on these long line of sight range heroes, the Widowmaker, the hit scan. You can rely on that. You can rely on less coordination on dive and aggressive play and everyone being on the same page as just hitting headshots straight up and hitting dragon strikes and pressing E and storm arrowing people like Illicit's known to do. So that's kind of why they won King's Row, and I think that's why they're going to have an advantage as we head into Escort as well.
Yeah, so game might just be back in BlossoM's hands, as you're saying. They have the momentum shift coming through. WGS need to course correct, try to come back on top, try to get a first win on Assault when we come back from the break. It's going to be their map selection, so we'll see what they piece together. Guys, don't go anywhere. We're back in just a few.